So I'll start the recording so we can go back. I started the session a little early so that you hopefully saw on the screen these resources that you can download. We do have the back channel going on, the Today's Meet session, and just it's just a way for you to engage another way, and we will try to incorporate this, but then I may do some smart response and just some different ways. But this allows you to kind of share behind the scenes if you have some great ideas or really like what our panelists are sharing. So pretty excited about what's going to happen today. So we have 3 awesome Smart Exemplary educators joining us. So hopefully you received that email that I sent out not too long ago with the resources, and then it's on the page. It's a downloadable file that in the attachments tab, and I'll go through that. In the attachments tab, it has 5 resources that our panelists will use today. So for those of you that have not joined our webinars, I just want to introduce myself kind of formally. I'm Heather Lamb. I'm the education consultant in Texas. And then I'm joined by a couple of my colleagues, Sandy Hill and Luis Morales. They're not actually live today, but if you need anything or want to see demonstrations on products or want to know some specific items about our solution, Luis and Sandy are kind of your go-to people. So reach out to them or reach out to me and I can help you reach to them. We do have a Facebook fan page, and I know that if you're not on Facebook, you can also just click on that link or go to that Facebook link and just see what we've posted. We try to keep the social media aspect of what we're doing in Texas live, and you don't actually have to have a Facebook page, but you'll have to copy the links. We're on Twitter, so you can see all of our not our hashtags, but our Twitter account and our phone number. So let us know how we can help you. This is just one avenue for us, and it helps to spread the good word, the good smart word, and it helps to get the information out there. So how can you join? How can you participate in these sessions? Well, as I said, you can go to the Today's Meet session. And look, here we go. Here's Benita from Frisco, Wendy from San Angelo, Denise from SMS in Dallas, Mary D'Angelo from Dallas, Betty Ann from Midland. So you can see that we're all over the place as far as, hey Scott, Lisa from Preston Hollow. So take a moment. Oh look, Kristen from Minnesota. Yes, and Kristen was at the Smart Exemplary Educator Summit along with John this summer, so maybe we'll have to have a virtual to our Texas friends about all the cool things that the Exemplary Educator program is about. So joining us long distance, Kristen, and so keep that going, and everybody will chime in, and it's just a good thing. The cool thing about this is when the webinar doesn't stop, this will stay live for another month. So I like to use this because it allows you to see if people post anything or whatever, and it's that kind of that behind-the-scenes conversation. I've got to research more with GoToWebinar and seeing if there's a better way to do even some chatting. So with that being said, so you've got the GoToWebinar. We do have a raise your hand feature. So if you like to talk, we love to hear your voice besides our voices, but if you want to ask a question, please do that by raising your hand, or not sure if you want to raise your hand, but you want to ask a question or you need to know. So just you can type your question. Someone just typed a question that Mary T is joining us, and I think Mary T is from Florida. So we're extending our little Texas reach. The session is being recorded, and I'll talk about that. I've been posting these onto my website, Heather's Digital Dashboard, and I actually I'm in good standing with YouTube, so they're allowing me to post these longer videos, which is excellent, because the other way I was hosting it was kind of a pain. So I've been putting this into the internet browser, and I love this because notice I didn't have to minimize, I didn't have to maximize, I didn't have to do anything. And so here's your, hey Linda, so this is live, this is the internet browser. So if you haven't explored the internet browser inside of inside of a Notebook 11 file, I encourage you to do so. And I don't know if you knew this, but one way you could use it is having 2 internet browsers up and maybe do a compare and contrast about something. So just a neat way. The other thing is the internet browser, you can actually, if you pull up a site that has, say, some images, and they're not the shortcut, but they're the actual image, you can actually drag and drop those right onto your notebook page. So that's a little quick tip. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, I already introduced the back channel, the today's meet session, which is the October date, and I sent it out already, so hopefully you received that. We're going to talk, I've got just a little quick advertisement about the Smart Response Connector for Eduphoria. We did a webinar, and some of you might be familiar with Franz Davis or even Jeff is today. They helped me to facilitate this session. So we have a webinar that's hosted, and I have the link, so if you want to know more about that, if you're an Eduphoria aware user, you might be very interested in that. So we may have to do kind of a come back around with Jeff and maybe Franz, but there is a webinar that Jeff and Franz really, really heavily supported. Jeff went through the ins and outs of using it, so I highly encourage you to look at that when we get to that. Today's theme is kind of a make it, take it, and so I've been doing this with the Smart Table webinars and really had some good success because it's like a virtual content creation. So I asked some of our panelists if they would focus on the activity builder and any other kind of cool ideas with a make it, take it. So that's why you have a resource file. Will I do that every time? Not necessarily, it just depends, but if you've got that file downloaded, you can actually, they're going to take you through some of the steps in creating the activities that they have presented. So who are our teachers? Benita Jones from Louisville, John Meehan from Kerrville, and Jeff Peterson from Lamar Consolidated are joining us. And then, as always, my resources are posted on my digital dashboard, heathersdigitaldashboard.com, as well as the recording. There's a link there. We're going to, I've got the next session up there. We're going to skip November because November's kind of crazy for us and with the holiday, and I just felt like it was time to take a little breather and probably give you time to practice some of the skill sets that you are gaining or building on. So our next session will be December 13th, a little before the holidays, and maybe you're ready to let your brain start to think about some new things. So that's going to be, and I'll tell you at the end what our theme is going to be. So with our focus being the activity builder, so activity builder is one of those items that is in Smart Notebook 11. So if you don't have Smart Notebook 11 yet, just watch and you will probably be encouraged to maybe look at this, getting it loaded. But the activity builder is a really neat little application. And where do you find it? I put this little puzzle piece here because it matches the puzzle piece. So I'm going to give a quick little overview so that our panelists can get right into their building. So you don't have this file. I'm just going to share with you just kind of the basic premise of the activity builder. So we're going to get right into it today because I don't want to take much time. So the activity builder is a puzzle piece, and I've got my tabs over on the left. So you see, and then, whoops. So what you get, let me go back to this. So when you start here, so when you click on there, you'll get this little icon, and that's what so I have a little icon for the activity builder. And then when you click on that, this will take you to your next page. Now, when Smart starts adding things, so this is our add-on location, this is where you will start seeing more of these type of pieces. So let's talk about this. So here's a quick little idea that I came up with. Nothing fancy, just to get you so you understand. And I clicked right here, so when you click on the activity builder, if you have not built something, you click right here and it tells you the steps that I'm getting ready to do. But basically, if you think of the activity builder as kind of the same idea as what we had in the lesson activity toolkit, but for our Mac users, they'll be very pleasantly happy because it's built in with the HTML5 platform. So it's not built with Flash, so you don't have all the funkiness that the Flash presents. So you basically need a container or multiple containers to then accept or reject. That's the basic premise. So you accept something or you reject it, and you give the exceptions and the rejections some sort of setting. So what do you want to happen? So if I come in here, and I've already started this just so you can see, because it says select an object you want to be the activity object. When you do this, this is my container. So notice I have 5 containers. So each one of these containers, I will have to repeat the steps for it for each container. So you might take that into consideration when you start building or look at what our panelists are doing. So if I select my object, and I've already started this, I'm going to edit it. And notice that when I edited it, it turned into, because I've already started this. I've already started, so I set the parameters of this activity. So the goal is for the students, they're going to be counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fence posts. And like I said, just a real simple. So all I had to do was I had to just drag these over, but I'm going to show you a little trick. So I'm going to click done because that's my first container. And I haven't done, let me come down to here. Yeah, I haven't done these containers yet. So let me edit. And notice that when I edited it, it turned into a diagonal. The diagonal represents that is a container, just like if I come over here. So anything that you see when they take you through the steps, anytime you have a container or an object, that's, I don't know if container is that, but it's a place that you're going to be putting things into, so an object that you want to place. So here's a little trick. If you take, I don't have all these locked down or anything yet, but I can highlight over these and do a Marquee Select rather than dragging one after another. And I know that's the 3rd item, so I'm going to take these and left click and just drag and drop. So it was dragging all of them. I drag them all over. And then I'm going to pick out I probably should have done the opposite way. So I'm going to take the 1 and move it down here, and the 2, and the 4, and the 5. So it's going to reject those, and it's only going to accept that number 3, because this is the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd if I'm doing ordinal numbers. So I can do those. Then the other thing you have is your settings bar. So it's a pretty easy step-by-step. So you have some options. You use this. What do you do to accept it? And then what do you want to happen when it rejects? You only have a none and bounce back now for that. So you don't really have some options. You can, if you have sound with your items, you can play those. And then you click done. So now if I were to try this and I drag in the 2, see how it kicks it back? If I drag in the 3, it faded it out, quickly faded it out. So that's just a quick overview of the activity builder, because these guys are going to go into much more detail than I am going to. But I wanted you so they didn't have to spend a lot of time on the inner workings of the activity builder. As always, you want to quickly, and don't forget to save your work, because after you spend a lot of time, some quirky things can happen. So I'm going to go and I'm going to close that window because my computer is being a little wonky. So I'm going to start off with introducing our teachers. So like I said, we have Benita Jones from Louisville ISD in the Dallas area, John Meehan from Kerrville ISD, and that's down in the kind of San Antonio, Austin area. And then we have Jeff Peterson, who's down in the Houston area from Lamar Consolidated. So really excited and zipping right along, so each of them has some really good time to share. I'm going to switch it over. If you have questions while they're presenting, please don't, please don't hesitate to ask the questions. And then also don't forget about the Today's Meet. And if you want to raise your hand, I'll be watching it as well. So with that, I'm going to unmute Benita. I'm going to change. Benita, you're there, so I'm going to change you as a presenter.
Okay, I'm here. Can we hear me?
We can. Let me. So I muted myself, and you're on, so you take it away.
And is my screen up?
It is.
Okay. Then I guess we're ready to go. I'm going to show actually today several different ways of presenting the same information. using the Lesson Activity Toolkit and ultimately the Activity Builder. So I am an elementary school dyslexia program teacher, so this is going to be very phonics heavy, but of course, like anything else with SMART, you just think about what content you're going to put in there and do your own thing. So we're going to be looking at suffix ed today. The first page is from the Lesson Activity Toolkit. It is one of the pages in the toolkit, and it is the category sort page. The pages are different from the activities in the toolkit because they don't have the flash files, they don't move and change and reveal the answer for you. So this would be more of a teacher-directed activity. On the blank page, let me go back to that one, sorry. It's coming. Here we go. You actually fill in your own information just like you would in a text box. You just change what's there, you put in what you want it to say, you make the labels, create the labels, and like I said, this would be more teacher-directed, where you have introduced the concept and perhaps you are, of course, working with the kids, and in this case they have to decide how suffix ed is pronounced in each of the words. And drag the label into the correct spot. Again, it's not self-correcting, it's not one of those activities from the toolkit, so that's why the teacher would need to be the one there to actually direct this activity. The next one, the next one is one that one of my fellow dyslexia teachers from Louisville created, just using the table tool. By selecting, creating her table, setting it up, oops, I put one too many, typing in the column headings, and this one, I'll get this one out of the way. She actually put the pull tab that has the words that she wanted to use. So you could either have the students come up and select one of the words and write it in the correct spot, and of course explain the rule why they put it there, or you could hide these and the teacher could dictate the words and have the students put them in the correct spot. And the next one, and I went 2 pages, the next one is very similar to that. It's using the table tool again. And this would be more like a spelling activity. The teacher would dictate the words, the students write them in the correct column, and explain the rule for that. The next page uses the Vortex Sort from the Lesson Activity Toolkit, which is, oh, sorry, I need to put the dog outside apparently. It's one of the activities in the toolkit. It's called the Vortex Sort. This one happens to be, of course, with text. To create it, you go to Edit, label your columns, type in the words that you want for each column, select OK, and you're ready to go. And the students would come up, drag the word into the correct vortex, and if it's correct, it gets sucked in. If it's incorrect, it gets pushed back out. And you have the option of not rotating the vortices. If that is a bit too much for you or your students, you can just leave them plain, and of course it still works the same way. The next one I'm going to show you is one that I created using the activity builder, like Heather just showed us. And then we're going to walk through some steps on how you can create one just like this. So this object, the barrel, which is actually called a butter churn, came from the gallery. These are all individual text boxes. And again, it's just sorting the letters, or sorting the words, by the correct pronunciation of suffix ed. If it's correct, it goes right inside. Here's ed pronounced d, ed pronounced t. And this is one that we are going to do. I'm going to walk you through the steps of creating this one. You can join along if you like. Open up a blank page on your notebook if you have one and you want to do that. So the first thing I did was to change the background color. And I also, to focus the attention a little bit more, I created, oops, I'm going to have to redo that one. Created a big box to put everything in. I changed the properties, so I'm going to fill it with a little bit lighter color. Let's go here. And then I had to go to, I went to the gallery, Gallery Essentials, and I typed in barrel, but this popped up and it's called a butter churn. Oops. Let me clear that out. And there is the picture of the butter churn. I'm going to drag it over to my page, make it a little bit bigger so all those words can fit it inside. Then, using my text tool at the top of the page, I'm going to change my font from cursive because that's a little harder to see. Maybe. Maybe not. Come here. There we go. And then I'm going to stop it. Sorry. Then I'm going to hush. I'm going to type in what I want the label to be on the barrel. Sorry guys, somebody was at the door and it made her crazy. I changed the text color to white so it will show up when it's on the barrel. The barrel is going to be my my object that I select when I go to the activity builder. So let's go do that. We go to the puzzle piece, the activity builder, and all right, let me try it again.
Anita, do you think it has anything to do with your ED on there?
No, it has always worked just fine. I'm not sure what the problem is right now.
Maybe.
I'm not getting the edit object or the activity object to come up.
I don't know, maybe drag in another barrel, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe I should go ahead and put the words on the page. Let me try that. And since I only have one thing on the page, maybe that's the problem. I'm going to go ahead and type in the words that we're going to use. Maybe the dog scared it. Okay. Now, I'm not sure why that's not working for me.
Does it work if you just draw a circle or something?
Well, I don't know. Of course, it works perfectly fine when I'm trying it out all by myself and no one's listening to me and no one's watching. Let me try it again. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me try something else. Let's just try another shape and see if that works. I'll fill it in. I think I broke it. I'm not sure why I'm not getting the activity builder coming out.
I think I got the idea. No, I don't have any ideas except for closing out. But maybe the idea will be there, and then John and Jeff will be able to help
Thank you.
strengthen. Okay.
Can I show my game real quick?
Absolutely.
If that will work, keep your fingers crossed because I make no guarantees. It's actually not mine. But everybody, well, my kids love Kushball games, and this one came from the Smart Exchange, and it is, of course, seasonal, and it's really cute.
You know who's that? I think made that.
This is a template.
I think John made that.
Well, there you go. All right then. It's the template. All you have to do is put your content in. And how it works is the students throw the Kushball and hit one of the objects on the page, and it will link to a question page. For example, this one, of course, is something that we use all the time. The students have to give the correct answer, and they drag this zombie over here to check their answer. And then the hand takes you back to the first page. And on this, download it from the Smart Exchange. All the pages are blank, and you just put in your own content. They love it. And there's tons of these Kushball games on the Smart Exchange. Go check them out.
All
right.
right.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, but I'm sure the next two guys, hopefully the next two guys will be able to explain it better.
I think so. And this is, I believe John will have to tell us, but I think this is his, activity, so maybe he can tell us how to customize it since Vanita shared it. So I think that will be a great thing. And yeah, Lisa said we always have technology turn us, so it's just one of those things. And great ideas and technology sometimes doesn't always want to play nice. So that is a great segue. So I want to thank Vanita for sharing her cool ideas and what can do. Technology is just one of those goofy things sometimes. So John Meehan is from Kerrville, and he's going to share his ideas. And then John, let me see. John, is that game yours that Anita shared?
Yeah, that's mine.
Well, there you go. Now, see, that was a great promotion of the stuff. So you can promotion, and now you can feel honored that she's sharing, and people get to hear from the author of it. So how cool is that? So pretty exciting.
Well, yeah, that is exciting. That's one of those, wow, where's the camera crew
Yeah.
moments.
All right, so we can see your screen, and I'm going to go back on mute, and hopefully my technical audio system is being nice, and I'm going to turn it over to you, John. So you have about 10 or 12 minutes, so keep an eye on the time a little bit.
Okay.
Cool. All right, can't wait to hear it.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm John Meehan. I teach 7th grade language arts in Kerrville, Texas. We're about an hour from San Antonio, so we're very excited about ISTE coming to town this summer. I've been working with the Smartboard for about 3 or 4 years now, and had the pleasure of getting to go to Calgary this summer for the Smart Exemplary Educator Summit. Getting to work with 50 other educators from around North America and around the world. Anyway, with Notebook 11, Activity Builder is it's an awesome tool. Teaching middle school and actually teaching any topic at any level. One of the things that I found is just as important as teaching the content itself is teaching that there are examples and non-examples of each thing. You know, teaching language arts. You know, what are some examples of nouns? Well, what are not examples of nouns? And that's one of the things that I've really found Activity Builder to help out with. Because it shows, for example, on this page that I have open, you know, what things are reptiles, what are not reptiles, what are mammals, what are not mammals. And so this is actually just a very quick format that I was going to show you how to create something like this. Everything you see on the page actually came directly from the Gallery tab. If you go under Gallery Essentials and under Science and Technology and Animals, you can actually find any of these. And so I just kind of grabbed a handful of these and split into 3 sections. One thing that I did with my categories, one thing that you need to make sure that you do is if you're going to create a shape, and you want to drag and drop your activity object item to that shape, you have to make sure that the shape is filled. If the shape is not filled, you actually have to drop the Activity Builder object right on the line for it to be accepted. And so very quickly I'll go through what I would do to finish off creating this activity. Going to the Add-ons tab, I would start by selecting mammals and select edit. The nice thing is that I have accept and reject, and I know that everything that I dropped right here in the center is a mammal, and so I'm going to drag those and drop those in the accept these objects box if it will cooperate. Let's try that again. There it went. The nice thing about this Activity Builder and having to reject these objects is that I don't have to go through and pick out everything that needs to be rejected. I knew what needed to be accepted. That means everything else gets rejected, and I can actually select this Add All Remaining button here, and it's going to send everything else on the page into the reject box. So anything in here is a non-example of a mammal. And I'm going to do the same thing after I select Done. I'm going to do the same thing with reptiles and then the same thing with birds. So I've added all of the reptiles, and I'm going to add everything remaining to the reject box. And then again select Done. And then last with the birds. We're going to select all the birds. Drag and drop those into the accept box, and then add all remaining to the reject. Select done. And so now when I go in full screen, what I can do is I can kind of mix these all up and move them all around the page as I need to. And then I can have my students come up to the board and find one that they want to use and try and move it to where it belongs. If I move this bird to the mammals, it's going to pop it back out to where it was. That's another important thing to be aware of, is if I move this bird around on the page and then I try and move it into the wrong box, it's going to pop it to where it last was placed. Okay, it's not always going to move it exactly to the place where it originally came from. So this is a really easy example of an activity builder object that you could do with lower grades. With higher grades, when things get a little bit more complicated, it's good to start with a format of example and non-example. So for example, parts of speech, what I like to do is I like to create content that I can share with people. And when I create an activity, I try and create a template for that activity. So something that I could use over and over and over again, and I could have other people use over and over and over again. And so that's why everything is kind of plain on here. I do like, just for aesthetics, to have a nice background, and I like to pick a, kind of a theme that my kiddos in my class would enjoy seeing. So for example, Star Wars, I've already gone through and I've made all of the examples link up to Luke Skywalker, because he's the good guy, so those are good examples. I've linked all the non-examples to Darth Vader, so these are bad, these are not examples. And any of these on the page, any of the text on the page, we can just double click and edit to make it fit whatever we need it to do. So if we made this verbs, we can leave examples and non-examples, but I can edit any of these. So an example of a verb would be swim, and a non-example would be turkey. And then when I move these to try and go to the correct place, it will either kick them out or it will accept them. And so this is a very, very simple template. And just, for this one, it's just one or the other. But it's not always going to be that simple. Sometimes we have multiple different areas where something could fit. And so this game is a little bit more in depth. This is for the Hunger Games. In this activity, you can have up to 8 different categories. This again is sort of my template version, and the second page is kind of an example version of how I would use it. So again, parts of speech. Sorry, you guys are probably getting bored with that, but I have to go over it this many times to drill it into my 7th grader's head, so you all have to bear with me. We have one character for each part of speech: noun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, interjection, conjunction, and pronouns. And then I just kind of mixed all of these from the previous page up, and they have to move them to the correct character. So for the word school, if they tried to move that to preposition, it's going to kick it back. they have to go to the correct area for it to sink in. I'm trying to make sure that I leave enough time for Jeff here. So I'll give a quick promo to my website. My website is mrsmarttrainer.blogspot.com. All of the activities that I have made, including the Halloween activity that I'll show you a little more in depth here in a second, can be downloaded from that website absolutely free. Follow me on Twitter. My handle is @JohnMeehan, JohnMein. I'm happy to help with any questions that you all have. Now,
hey, John.
Since it is, yes, ma'am.
Can you, do you have that file open still? The one that has the animals on it? Yeah, that top one. Can you, I noticed something, and I've had this happen, and I want you to show. So go back to your, when you, in the activity builder, so, and you'll notice when he, go to one of your circle, it doesn't matter which one, and edit it. And notice how in the reject box he got reptiles and birds, the circles down there. Do you see that, John? So, yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So a couple of things about Activity Builder is you can lock things down and allow them to move and still drag them around. So you can get your page set up. But the reason I saw that happen, and I thought, and I was wanting to see if you were going to hit it and talk about that, because there's a couple of things that I've noticed, which I don't know if you have these boxes filled with white, but one thing I noticed with the Activity Builder is your object, it seems like your object had to have some sort of color in there unless they've updated that. So maybe they, because you didn't have to have that, so I don't know.
I did fill those circles with white before.
Okay, so you do, go ahead.
Because otherwise, here, let me do a quick example for you. I think I need to leave Activity Builder. If I do like this oval, and I do not have a, I don't have a fill layer, so I can see through it. And I try and make this an Activity Builder object, and let's say this buffalo or bison is my accept. When I drag this, if I try and drag it to the middle, it's not going to accept it. I have to drag and drop it directly on that line for it to be accepted. So you have to make sure that you are filling any shape that you use.
Cool. All right. That's, yeah. So that's, I just wanted to remind people. So filling shapes and then also locking down. You can always delete them, but it's just one extra step. So I wanted just to touch on that. Great examples. So. And then
the other thing with Activity Builder is that you want to make sure that that after you're done creating that you save, because one thing that I've done, and I haven't saved it yet today, but if just by habit I click the Reset Page button on my new customizable toolbar, it's going to revert that page to the last saved state, which for me is a completely blank page. And so if you want to reset an Activity Builder page because maybe all of your objects are gone from the page, you want to make sure that you do that from the Add-ons tab, select Reset All right here to bring everything back. Because like I said, if you end up clicking this Reset Page button, everything will be gone.
All right. Are you going to move over into your thing?
The Halloween game.
Yeah.
This is kind of this is kind of my my go-to activity style game. I love the idea of getting my kids up to the board and having them use whatever stuff I've found to interact with the game. Whether that's a Nerf gun, a koosh ball. The thing that I found works best is they make those really gross, like squishy balls that have the fluid in them. Anything that'll give the splat feature, let's say, and will make enough impact to trigger the transition to a different slide is great to use. And they make those in all kinds of different shapes. With this one, I like to use, it's called a Monster Ball. The brand Toy Smith makes them. And you can find them online. I think you can buy a case of those balls for like $10 or something. But anyway, the way that these work is all of the objects on the front menu page are linked to another page. Again, these are all game templates. So if I click on one of these ghosts, it will take me to a question page. I can double click on the prompt for my question, which in my case I would usually give like a vocabulary definition here. Let's see. Peaceful, serene might be my definition. And then what I do is on this pull tab of the zombie, I would type my answer, tranquil, and I would group this to my pull tab to move it together. And then on every page there's a way to get back to the main page. Again, on my website, mrsmarttrainer.blogspot.com, all of these games and activities are there for free. I have about 20 activities on the Smart Exchange. And if you have any questions about how to edit any of these activities, please feel free to email me at mrsmarttrainer@gmail.com. Heather, if there are any questions, I can't see the question page.
If you, I'll see if you can see, and then you can probably go back to the today's meet after we're off. Because you're a presenter. So as soon as I change the presenter, I'm going to change it to Jeff right now, and Jeff's going to be the presenter now. So you can see we've got elementary, middle, and high school, and or some examples Jeff is doing. So hopefully you're getting some cool ideas to better use the activity builder, and then bonuses of just some cool ways to use linking and some things. So keep the questions coming, and here's Jeff Peterson from Lamar Consolidated.
There we go. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am going to move very fast because I know we're short on time, so I want to make sure I just cover through what I've got on here. Activity Builder, absolutely love it. If you've seen what you've seen so far, Vanita and John have some absolutely awesome resources, excellent ideas. Activity Builder is probably one of my favorite features of Notebook 11, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into just some real quick examples that I've developed and put together and have been sharing out throughout my district, because I work pretty much with all different levels of teachers, content areas, and everything of that nature. First ones, some of them very, very straightforward. Drag the correct time to the box. I built the box on being the container, gave myself several different objects. If you notice, my box is locked. Heather did mention the locking earlier. I tend to lock everything that is not part of the actual interactive activity. So my clock, my title text, none of the, and all of these are locked. Just my bottom objects are not locked because those are my ones I want accepted or rejected. But a very simple activity. We know students struggle with time, so we make it very easy. The wrong one gets kicked back. The correct one, in this case, I've got it set into lock to the center of the box. So it snaps to the box, it stays on the screen so they see the time and they know that was the correct time instead of disappearing. Another activity, very, very simple, identifying types of animals. John had one very similar to this. Same concept. I've got just a few more categories on there, but exact same concepts. Whether if it's the incorrect one, kicks it back. If it's the correct one, it's going to take it, in this case, disappear. Let's see. More secondary based, because I do tend to range between all different levels. I've got one here, branches of government. I've just taken this one and applied it to the pictures that I downloaded. And in this case, I've got text that applies to it. If they drag the text to the wrong box, it does kick it back. If it goes to the correct one, it does disappear. Very, very simple, but it really helps get the kids involved, get them in, seeing what's going on. Tell the teachers all the time, this is not for the teacher to do, this is for the kid to do. Following the same idea, John had a lot of parts of speech, and I've got my parts of speech one on here as well, so very similar to what he did with the Hunger Games template. Follows the same concept, just various pictures, drag them to the correct boxes. You will see I've got boxes in each one of the corners. Heather was they talked about already the fact that boxes need to be filled. The boxes I have in here, they are filled. They are white boxes. I actually put my text behind the box. So what I ended up doing was using the object transparency on the box itself. You can see my box is transparent. That way you could actually still see the text underneath the box. That has worked out really well for my boxes when I create different objects on here. Again, same thing, same kind of concept, just applying applying the activity builder to certain objects. I've got text up here that are locked into place. It does not have to be a box or a picture. You can also make text the container for within Activity Builder. So in this case, I've got several different statements on the screen. The students just simply need to figure out which one is which, drag it to the correct answer. If they get it on the correct word, it disappears. If it's on the incorrect one, it's going to kick it back. And what's next on here? Same kind of concept. This one, I just incorporated a Voki with it. The Voki itself, the Voki widget, if you haven't played with it, phenomenal little tool as well. The Voki tells a story. The kids have to put order of events. They drag them to the correct box for the order of events. All right, I'm going to keep jumping along. This one deals with math. The students have to make a mixing bowl and make cookies, but they have to cut the recipe in half. So here's the original recipe. The kids have to determine what is the half measurement of each one of these ingredients and drag the correct answer to the bowl. If it's incorrect, of course, it kicks back. The correct one's going to go and be accepted into the bowl depending on what they did. And I think I messed that one up. And I did just following the exact same concept. This one I just told them to double the ingredient. The first one I have them do half. The second one I have them double. So it uses the same map, same slide, same page. I just changed the map by saying double it instead of making it half. It makes it real quick, real simple for you as the teacher, but it definitely gives the students the repetition they need. Last one I threw in here, this was something just very simple, a puzzle. The kids are going to make a puzzle. They're going to solve the puzzle. Here is the answer to the puzzle. Here's my little thumbnail one. They're going to put the puzzle together in this area of the screen. This is one that should be on that little template that I gave you. You can see I've got boxes all hidden through here. What they're going to do is they're going to have to try to figure out how this puzzle goes together. They drag it to the wrong spot. Naturally, it is going to kick it back like it should. They drag it to the correct spot. It's actually going to put their puzzle together. This was again, a very simple one that just was thrown together. The only catch I had to run into was putting the, whoops, that was the wrong spot. I took an original picture and I had to cut it apart. I took the original picture, had it much bigger, and I took it apart. And I did a very simple means of taking it apart. I laid a little grid over top of it, I use like a table to lay over top of it. Figure out how many pieces I need it to be by resizing the table. Once I have everything, I didn't do it with this actual table. I did it in a different program. But once I had it in the position I needed it, I can use the capture tool, come in and capture the pieces that I need. So every time I capture a piece, it's going to give me my new piece, and I can put the puzzle together very quick and simple. Now, how I did that on the back side, the very next page has all my puzzle pieces. I already took them apart. As you can see, I added a blue background on here so you can see my white boxes. Normally my background is going to be white so you don't see my boxes on there, but I added that just so you would be aware of those boxes. Each one of these boxes is nothing more than just a plain white box that I drew on the screen, which that happens to be a circle. That worked out well. I drew a white box on the screen. Inside the activity builder, I came in, I assigned the correct piece to that box, and then I added all the remaining pieces to the incorrect. Once I had that done the way it needed to be, I also adjusted my settings so it was snapped to center instead of the default to fade out. And that way the pieces would snap exactly where I needed them as the puzzle was being put together. Once I had the pieces the way I needed it, I brought them over to the edge, rearranged them a little bit. John had alluded earlier that it remembers the way you last saved it. So I rearranged my pieces so they were a little bit out of order, saved it, closed it, and it's going to remember how you saved it there at the end. It was just a neat little simple idea, but it's a fun activity for the kids. You could do this with any kind of picture. I could have made this 40 pieces. I could have made it 9 pieces. I did 9 just for my own sanity's sake. But it's a very, very simple activity to do. And that is all I've got because I know we're out of time. If you ever need to get a hold of me, you need anything from me, I do have on the screen all my contact information, which is currently hiding. You are welcome to contact me at any time. I'm more than willing to help. I try to share all my content, all my materials. I do need to get my puzzle up on the Exchange. I have not done that yet. But anything I upload, I add a keyword, LCISD, makes it very quick and easy to find. The iCafe website that I list up here, this iCafe will take you to a web page. You can see this little book that's flipping. There are simple little one-page cheat sheets, how-tos on individual things within Smart Notebook. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Heather.
All right. That was awesome. Somebody said it, and I agree. We work with some awesome educators in Texas. I mean, we have awesome educators everywhere, and I know we're extending our reach today, and continue, you guys that are out of Texas, please keep joining us. We are over time, so I want to be cognizant. I did want to, and I'll post this because people are asking for this, so I'm just going to quickly tell you that we did do a webinar. Jeff was part of that webinar. And if you want, and this will be, I'll post the files and everything up, and so if you want to see this webinar, that if you do have Smart Response, you can go to this info.com and then /Eduphoria webinar. It's a webinar on demand, and you can hear Jeff talking about the ins and outs of our response connector. Don't forget, and I know Jeff can post that link out on today's meet as well. Or John or Benita, one of you guys. And don't forget to go to my website. I am posting the resources and things, so I think we went by, an hour goes by really fast. And so hopefully we answered questions about the activity builder, some other resources between Benita and John and Jeff. They're rock stars. So don't forget to check out, there's a ton of widgets and things that are on the Smart Exchange. So I know you guys are on there, but don't forget to get your teachers involved. I keep coming across teachers that say, what is the Smart Exchange? So don't assume that they don't know. So because some of them may not realize that the stuff is out there on the Smart Exchange that the awesome people are sharing. So what are we going to do December 13th? Our focus is going to be smart collaboration. So we're going to look at kind of all you do with an iPad or a tablet or even a computer, but kind of the mobile piece. So we're going to look at the interactive viewer, which is like the Smart Notebook Express. We're going to look at the Smart Notebook app for the iPad and Smart Response VE. Just really quick, if you are running iOS 6, there will be an update coming soon for the iPad. I'm not sure, it's just coming from the product manager, so be watching if you are running iOS 6. So that's what we're going to be doing for that session. It is past the 5 o'clock mark, so hopefully I will post these things up there. I'm going to do that because I'm taking a couple of vacation days, so I'm going to go ahead and get everything posted this evening so you can go back and watch the recording. I'm so glad that you joined us today and want to extend huge thank yous to Vanita, John, and Jeff. And reach out to them if you have any questions. I will include their emails and their contact information as well in the file. I'll go back and do that. So if you do have any questions, please let them know. They're awesome. So thanks a lot for joining us today. I hope my audio was a little bit better, and I'll work on that. And we will see you December 13th at 4 o'clock Central Time. So thanks again for everything, and if you're looking for something that you want us to cover during these webinars, please let me know. And if you want to share something you are doing, I would love for anyone to reach out and let me know that you want to share. So have a great rest of the week, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, since I won't see you during that month, or however you celebrate, to have a restful time. And we will see you back on December 13th. But in the meantime, please reach out to me if you have any questions or need anything. And I look forward to seeing you again in December. So thanks again for everything.